This video is brought to you by Against the Flow of Mississippi. Against the Flow of Mississippi is a book about Jake Fayard, a Marine veteran who is unhappy with the political machine running the state of Mississippi. He decides to fight the corruption from the inside. Jake will face more challenges than he ever has and will stand up for what he thinks is right. His notoriously hot temper will push him to the edge of murder, along with his friend and brother Kobe Barhanovich. Together, they will fight the system and give the power back to the citizens of Mississippi.
Against the Flow of Mississippi was written by Anthony Oksenholt and was published by Oksenholt Biloxi Publishing, LLC. A link to the book will be placed in the description below.
Yeah, this a revolution in our time. Everybody's fighting, change coming, yes. That's why it's an acronym for riot. Everybody has a voice. Don't you dare stay silent. If you say nothing, you are an accessory to violence.
They've had their say. Seems like they've had that kind of say around here for too long. Look, I had to stand up for myself alone. I went in there to remind them that somewhere in this world there's still a little law and order left. To let them know in the only kind of terms that their kind understand is that they can't bribe or threaten their way out of what they did. To let them do this to me and get away with it, and you give them the eternal right to do the same damn thing to any one of you.
Access 228, your host, Anthony Oksenholt, where we report the facts and we are not for sale. If you have a news story or something that's on your mind, please feel free to give us a call at 228-337-2099. Be glad to have you on. Thank you for listening, and we do appreciate all that you do to support us and keep free and independent journalism doing what we do best. All right, y'all. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Access 228, your host, Anthony Oksenholt, on the road up here in Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. Back out here trucking. And, there are several things I want to cover on this show. So this might be a long one, it might not. All depends on what all I feel like doing, and we'll see what happens. Anyway, so let's start off with the local. City of Biloxi. City of Biloxi is trying to go for the little bond budget, whatever, $18 million, however much it is. And of course, some people didn't like that. Well, I consider myself a fiscally conservative guy, but I have to say that there are things in the city of Biloxi that need repaired. Now, we just did we just did a shitload of reconstruction on infrastructure as far as drainage, and the point was messed up for years, and we finally got all that done. I mean, it does look a lot better, but all that's finally done. Finally, there was money in the budget that paid for that. That's where a lot of it went, I'm sure. And we have other little projects, the Sanger that everybody's bitching about. Personally, I say the Sanger Theater needs to be saved. I know some of y'all that ain't from here sitting there whining about how, we don't need to put money into it, just tear it down, whatever. No. Sanger's been there since 1929. There was quite a few Sanger theaters, and from what I'm understanding, only a few of them are left. I think, of course, we have ours. I think Pensacola still has theirs, and there may be, 2-3 others across the South that I could think of up top of my head, but that is something that needs to stay. I'm glad to see that building getting fixed up. I'm glad to see the city doing something with that building. That's a historical building. We don't have a whole lot of historical buildings left in Biloxi. Certainly none to the point of what it was when I grew up there when I was a kid that I remember. All of our good plantation homes and mansions on the beach are gone in Biloxi, most of them. Father Ryan House is gone. Santini House. Things that are Biloxi heritage. They've been gone since Katrina. We know this. And it's sad. So I'm glad to see that the city of Biloxi is actually caring enough to try to keep some of our historical buildings. I personally think that we need to keep as many as we can, save as many as we can. Um, if you've had generations upon generations on the coast like my family's been there, you would understand. If you just moved here within the last 20 years, you wouldn't understand. And in my opinion, your opinion really doesn't matter to me. Because you ain't from here. Y'all know my theory on this. I've said it before. I'll say it again. If you ain't got at least 3 generations on the coast, keep your fucking mouth shut on what we do as far as our heritage goes. I'm big into history. I think history should be preserved. I don't like these high-rise casinos coming in and taking up what used to be beautiful there, and now all of a sudden we got corporate fuckery going on. Y'all know how I feel about this. But I digress. They had a ballot initiative and it didn't get enough signatures. Oh well. Now, do I want the city to spend it on, you know, whatever they feel like they need to spend it on? No, I think there needs to be funds earmarked for certain things, and that's exactly what it should be spent on. Um, I think we need to take a look at trying to be more responsible with the budget than we have been. Granted, a lot of our money got screwed up with Oscar Renda. We all know that story. I'm not going to get into that because that's just going to piss all of us off. But I believe that we are in a position now to where we can fix a few things that we didn't have money to fix. I don't know if 18 million is going to be too much. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. I haven't paid too much attention into this because I've been busy doing other things. But I'm hoping, it is my hope that with this money, that the city will do the right thing. And I believe they will because I got faith in the mayor and I got faith in the city council. Um, Another thing newsworthy locally that I want to bring up is I want to give my opinion on the whole Yuri Petrini situation. Now, I know Yuri has pissed the city off.
I know Biloxi Politics Uncensored has pissed the city off. I get that. Well, y'all know how I feel about freedom of speech. I feel it is probably the most fundamental right we have. They got the right to get on here and do whatever they do, say whatever they want to say, provided that they don't libel anybody. I have sat down with both Jared and Yuri several times, and they know how I feel. I've already said that I think that they take shit too far, but that's their right to take it that far. Um, I think that the fofo is a mofo thing. Well, y'all saw my video on it. It might have been a little childish. Was it funny? Maybe. Was it disrespectful to the mayor? Yeah, but you know what? You have the right to post, you have the right to paint your fence and be disrespectful to the mayor. That's freedom of speech. I will 100% defend freedom of speech whether I agree with it or not. Personally, as I said before, Fofo is a mofo beast. I think he's done a good job as mayor. But if somebody don't like it, they certainly got the right to speak out about it. Again, as long as they're not libeling somebody, we're good. Now I want to get on something that's really important. In case y'all hadn't realized something here, Biloxi's getting a little bit more expensive to live in. Rent's skyrocketing, groceries are going up, all these little distractions and shit cannot take away from the fact that all these casinos that came in that were supposed to be paying all these great, this was a selling point in the 90s when the casinos came in. Oh, they're going to bring jobs and great paying jobs to the community and everything else. Folks, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not cut out for the tourist industry. I'm really not. I don't like people that much. That's why I drive a truck. And I drive a truck over the road. As I said, I'm currently in Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, instead of being home where I'd rather be, because rent is through the fucking roof. Groceries are through the fucking roof. Shit's expensive. This is affecting real people. And nobody's talking about it. Gas is $4 a gallon almost. God forbid you got a diesel truck. I know I filled this son of a bitch up the other day, and it was like, I think I paid like $6.30 a gallon. Well, I didn't pay. The company I worked for paid, but still. And y'all sit there and just, it's like, oh, okay, we'll just deal with it. You know, there was a house in my old neighborhood in West Biloxi on Travia Avenue where I grew up. It was catty corner to me. That house in 2015 was going for like $600 a month. Little 2-bedroom house. Had a nice yard. It was close to the beach. It was convenient to everything. Fairly safe neighborhood. I've heard the neighborhood has gone downhill since I left. Um, I don't understand why we're all not outraged that in 10 years you have gone from getting a house, a nice house, decent house, for $600 a month to where you can't even afford a shitty apartment or a shitty trailer on the coast now and work a regular job. Now, there are high paying jobs on the coast. And this is something I've been wanting to talk about for a long time, y'all. You know, I'm not all for raising the minimum wage because I think that would just that's just stupid. I think it should be. I think the wage should be negotiated between employer and employee. I don't think the government should have anything to do with it. But minimum wage in the state of Mississippi is what, $7.25 an hour? You show me anywhere on the coast you could live for $7.25 an hour without being on Section 8, without being on food stamps. You ain't gonna do it. Let's go backwards to 2004. I had my own place. Yeah, it was in Loosedale, but this is when I was 19. Um, I was making 5.15. No, I was making 5.25 an hour doing security in Gulfport, commuting from Loosedale to Gulfport. And if y'all know me, y'all know most of my life I've either had a straight six or V8s. Mainly most of my life I've had V8s. So my car back then had a V8, had a 50 HO. It was a 89 Lincoln Mark 7. Good car. It was paid off. It was my car. But I was able to live in Loosedale, work in Gulfport, have food, have power, all this stuff, phone, internet, on 5.25 an hour. Now we look at that jobs paying $15 an hour, and we're like, well, damn, I'm gonna be struggling at $15 an hour because rent is so fucking high. That same house that was renting out for 600, I think is renting out for about 1,800 a month now. It's tripled. But the pay hasn't tripled, has it, y'all? Why are we accepting this? That's the real question. Why are we, as workers, as working class people, and I work my ass off? As a matter of fact, I had a little bit of a medical issue back beginning of February, and I had to come out of a truck, and this is where it really showed me what all I had to deal with. And this is what opened my eyes up to it. I went to go work at Clark Oil at a gas station at the corner of DeBees and Pass. It's where I was working night shift. Night shift pays $13.50 an hour. Day shift pays $10.50 an hour. Most of the people I work with didn't even have their own vehicle. I was fortunate. I was able to buy my truck before I got sick and had to come off the road. I spent 2 months off the road until I got my shit together and came back out here. Why are we accepting this? I understand that gas station work is, low skill, unskilled labor and low wage job. I get that. And I used to think, well, you know what? Maybe you should have got a trade when you were younger. And I somewhat do still agree with that. I agree that, personal choices and whatever, and you pay the consequences. But at the other side of this is what's right's right, what's wrong's wrong. Working this gas station job, which is probably the only unskilled labor job I have had since I was a kid. By unskilled labor, I mean something that doesn't require any type of certification. Y'all know I was a correctional officer. If you watch this, you know I've been a truck driver for 20 years. I'm not saying it takes much skill to drive a truck because any dumbass can push this diesel down the road. But it does require a certification that I have to maintain. It does require a commercial driver's license that I have to go get a medical card every 2 years and get, pay a little bit more to get my license. To renew my license cost me, what did it cost me last year? I let my hazmat go, so that lowered it a little bit. I'm fixing to get that back. But I think it was like $70 to get my license back with all my endorsements on it. And I have 5. Fixing to have 6. Hazmat's expensive. That requires $86 to go get my fingerprints done, and then I got to go take another test. Why are we accepting this low pay? Oh, and by the way, your driver's license is good for 8. Mine's good for 5 years, not 8. Rules of a CDL. Florida, they give you 8-year CDLs. Mississippi only gives you 5. But why are we allowing ourselves to be screwed by people that don't want to pay us what it really takes to live down there? Sorry, y'all. Had to turn the heater on. It's like 30 something degrees up here. Um, why are we allowing ourselves to work for that and accept that as normal? That's my question. I think casinos for security, they're paying like $13 an hour. What happened to the high paying jobs a casino was supposed to bring in, y'all? This is what happens when you let out of towners, people that ain't from here, come in and screw up the good thing that we had. And I want y'all to think about that. I think our police department makes about 40 a year, 40 something a year anyway. You can't make it on that. Not anymore. Used to be good money. Now it ain't. And I'm going to use that to segue into national politics for a minute. I'm aiming at y'all Republicans because I blame y'all. Inflation is through the roof. That's why your dollar ain't worth a shit. Now we got the Cheeto in chief stepping in and sticking his foot in Iran, which we ain't got no damn business being there. Gas has gone up $2 a gallon in as many months. Just about. I don't know what gas is going for today on the coast, but I know when I was coming through Virginia today and Maryland, I started off yesterday morning. I started off in North Georgia, and I drove up here to Pennsylvania. And I think the lowest price I've seen on gas is like $3.89 a gallon. 2 months ago, when I was working at that gas station, it was $2.39 a gallon. I've seen it up to $4.20 a gallon, $4.30 a gallon. Is this what y'all want to vote for? Is this what y'all wanted? Because this is what we got. And again, it goes back to my previous conversation about y'all struggling. We're all struggling. It's bullshit. It needs to stop. It needs to stop now. And why y'all are not raising hell is beyond me. Y'all think about it. This is bullshit. And you know it. And if you're not pissed off, then you're not paying attention. Y'all have a good day. Anthony Oksenholt, Access 228.